Before we get into this, guys, just to go over, as you already know, based off of the description and everything, the words we hear today. All right, I was thinking about this in my head, and it's like a lot more now than ever. Do we use words like investing, or investment strategies, real estate, portfolio, asset, liability? You know, these things have worked in to our lives, to our mainstream understanding of how to kind of navigate ourselves in the economy now. More so than ever, because, like, think about it. Before, you didn't really have, I don't know, I just feel like there wasn't as many people who were, like, pushing the envelope. Like, are you familiar with Gary Vee?
I love Gary Vee.
Okay. Oh, and I should have asked you, too, what last name do you go by?
Garcia.
Did you have, yes, Garcia, okay.
Yeah.
Because Taylor,
no.
you're like Taylor everywhere.
So WayLynn Taylor's my middle name.
Okay, gotcha.
And Garcia is my
Well,
last
then
name.
there you go. WayLynn Garcia, ladies and gentlemen, check her out. Really booming right now in real estate. I mean, you just got your license.
3 years ago.
Well, you got your, not yet.
Oh, my Connecticut
license, because that's kind of when I reached out and I was like, whoa, you know, making really big moves there. And I'm sure that opens up a lot of things for you.
Yes, definitely.
And to go off of that, I kind of want to just introduce our first official, non-official sponsor, which is going to be Cash Captain, or retired@35.com. It was just a short story here on how I got started in all this, and this ties in extremely well into real estate, because he was somebody who was in the fitness industry with me, and he ended up really kind of coaching us into, okay, this place can be bought and all that, and that's how I ended up buying the place. You know, he sat me down and talked to me and the guy there, Matt, and was like, hey, you know, this you guys want to go into a business arrangement together? And then later he ended up quitting, and not like a bad thing, because he already had so much going on as far as real estate went. So then down the line, he ended up retiring about a year ago because of how well it was going, because he has a bunch of real estate, a bunch of
like rental income?
Rental property, exactly. So much of it built up. And retired@35.com is this great blog he had put together. And that's why I'm kind of shouting it out, because for anybody out there who's trying to get a little bit more of an awareness on how to become financially independent, it's so important in this time and age to find somebody who you can, who in other words, you can count on, who has done that. And he's somebody he's a great mentor for that. And he's put together a really good one-stop shop for all the kind of like, okay, you know, from things as simple as building a team with the person you're in a relationship with, like making a partnership out of that, because his wife was a real estate agent and he was buying rental property.
Oh, it's the dream team.
It's a dream team.
It was meant to be.
He's retired right now. He's living the life in Mexico right now too. So shout out to him.
Where I want to be.
Yeah, and so very exciting stuff, and I encourage you guys so much to try it out. So to tie that in and kind of come full circle here now with you coming, you know, being now a real estate agent for Connecticut as well as Mass, what are some things that you might, or rather, that people our age should know about? Because right now you're in such a great spot, because so many people our age now are becoming homeowners.
Yeah, definitely. Our age is definitely the prime time for first-time home buyers. And it kind of just depends what you're looking for. Like, if you want to use real estate as more an investment, then you can look into buying a 2-family, a 3-family.
Right.
You know,
and I think I
live in
reached
it.
out to you about that.
Yeah, and then people don't
so long ago.
understand, like, if you buy a $200,000 multifamily, and obviously it's not going to be the prettiest thing, but you live in one side, you fix it up, and someone's paying your mortgage, basically. So you're maybe paying a couple $100s a month for your mortgage while your tenant's paying the rest.
If that. Sometimes you could get lucky enough.
Sometimes you can get it and it's fully paid for. It depends how much it is, what your interest rate is.
Exactly.
But, I mean,
what it is just it's sort of that ratio where that level of risk is met by that level of opportunity. So the more risk you take, the more opportunity you might have, because obviously going into a loan as large as that of a 4-family, it's a bigger, you know, it's probably, what would you say, 350, 400?
So 2 families, you can, once you get up to 3, 4 families, it gets a little different.
Yeah.
But like anyone can go buy a 2-family and still live off of just the tenant's pay.
Exactly.
You know,
and that's sort of the strategy that he was coaching me on, because the guy, back to the guy who
it's
wrote
like
the blog,
big game.
he was, yeah, and that's kind of how he put it, because he really emphasized that, and he took me under his wing for a little bit and treated me like he was sort of like my mentor with a lot of this stuff. He showed me how to make a cash flow statement and not only just a cash flow statement for myself, but that of one for a property, going into all the details of what it might cost to buy the property and then everything associated with that, and then of course to
There's
maintain
so
the
many like loans though right now where some of my clients are getting approved for 0% down.
Okay.
So, and you can go buy two family with that. Yeah.
0% down?
Yes.
Like, is that for an FHA?
No, conventional loan, 0% down. I have clients that literally just got approved for that. So it's just,
is it
people
a higher
don't know
interest
that.
rate?
No.
No
And
way.
interest rates are so low right now. But no, they probably got like a 3%, 3.1% interest rate.
Wow.
There's so many options and people just don't know that.
No, I didn't know that. You blew my mind just now. Because I'm
Yeah.
kind of like half in the market. I realized that you have to have 2 years worth of.
Yes. So that's one of, even when I first got into real estate, prior to that, I was a waitress and a bartender. So I was just everything I had was cash from tips. So then I got my first year in real estate. I'm like, I'm ready to go do something and buy something. And then I went and tried to get pre-approved and they're like, WayLynn.
Yeah, it doesn't work like
You've
that.
only had 8 months of real pay.
Right. How did you get into real estate in the first place? So from being a waiter now into being a full-time real estate agent, you look like you're killing it. I mean, when you're posting, are those houses you've sold?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
I feel
everything.
like you post every day. Check out our Instagram, by the way. It's going to be below, and I'll tag it as well.
Thanks.
So you guys will see
people are good at what they do.
No, seriously.
I love real estate.
I can tell.
I feel like you just have to find something you love. This definitely fell in my lap.
That's the best way.
It really. I had no intention to be a realtor. Yeah. But it kind of was just at the right place at the right time with the right people, and I got licensed. And then I kind of, at that point, I was 19, almost 20 years old when I got licensed, and I had no idea what I was doing. But it's kind of just like you have to go through it to learn.
Is it a huge learning curve? Like I saw you have a coach as well, so you kind of work with somebody
so my
who
company
mentors you?
just started giving us a mentor, which really helps because it just kind of like helps you align like what your goals are and what you're trying to do, because real estate, like, this is my own business. Like this is my business, so I'm trying to grow it. And I'm so young, so I still, obviously, even though I'm doing well, I want to learn, and I need someone to tell me what to do at some point.
Well, just to attribute to that, it's so important to always be a student in a sense.
Yes,
because
definitely.
your learning curve becomes extremely diminished once you are, at least you let your guard down, become somebody who can learn from somebody else.
Literally,
you don't want your ego getting in the way of a process.
I just told my broker who like owns my company, I was like, starting 2021, like I want to sit down with because there's realtors that do 3-4 times as much as I do that have been in the business for 30 years.
Are you mostly off commission, or how does that work?
Yeah, I'm full commission.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I think
So everything I do, showing houses, like I show some clients like 50 houses before they buy something. So like all that driving and everything is like,
it's all part of the job.
It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I don't get paid. And then like other times, like if you go through the deal and the deal falls through, like all that work I did, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
So you have to,
nothing.
that's why some realtors, they get excited and they get like their accepted offer or whatever, which is exciting. But like you don't ever count it in your head.
You just
until it's
keep
closed.
trying
until it's closing day and they sign their docs, their attorneys.
What's that old saying? Don't count your chickens before they're hatched.
Yeah,
exactly.
Seriously, that applies big time
Yeah.
there. Good call, because I could totally see that. I in so many ways too. I could apply that just from even a sales standpoint when I'm having people come in for fitness and stuff. Like we won't schedule them out until they're all ready and they're actually gung ho to do it. Versus, you're putting them in the schedule and then you put them on reoccurring.
And then they don't come.
And then they never come back or something like that. And it happens, you know what I mean? And I've really loved the situation where I'm at versus where I was, because sales can be really...
Yeah, it can be tough.
Yeah,
but I
tough.
feel like real estate's, it's not really sales.
It's like a
No,
It's
well,
more
no.
like-
level.
It's,
I don't know.
Like, I find it more like you're
Well,
being...
it's a bigger build up. There's more anticipation. So when somebody's I'm assuming going through the steps, it's harder or less.
Like you're building a relationship with these people.
Exactly.
It's not like I'm
exactly.
selling you a car.
Right.
Yeah, you're also selling them something they need. Like I worked at Best Buy for a while, so we were always selling stuff that like people they didn't really
Just wanted?
They want it was a more of
Yeah,
a
yeah.
want, but we had to like need to convince them that sense.
Yeah,
that
Yeah,
it's
real
definitely.
estate's a very
Yeah.
personal thing because it's where,
Yeah, like
what
I
the house
meet
is
your
like.
entire family.
Yeah.
We're going.
Yeah.
I see you multiple times, and usually when people are in the buying process, like I at least see them probably 2-3 times a week, like showing houses. So forever, how long it takes them to find a house, like I'm seeing them constantly,
Yeah.
and then the whole process is like 45 days once you get an accepted offer to closing.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother month and a half that I'm still.
So does that all go through you? Do you also
I do
mitigate
absolutely
like,
everything. I don't have an
Okay.
assistant. I don't have a transaction coordinator. Everything
but
I
like
do.
with the mortgage and all
So
that, the loan, I should
there's
say.
you have your realtor.
I'm
you
asking
have
for
your...
myself because
No,
I'm like
that's why I'm
so
listening and not
confused.
saying as
So
much
these
'cause
are
I'm curious
the
too. Yeah,
three
yeah.
people that you need are you need a realtor. I mean, some people will say you don't, but don't do that.
Yeah.
Definitely hire a realtor.
How would
a
you do it
lender.
without one? I mean,
Well, a lot of people will try to sell their house. This is just happened to me the other day.
okay.
So, it's a for sale by owner, right? So they'll be like, oh, like bring your clients. Like they'll respect the realtor commission. They'll pay you out still, even though it's a for sale by owner.
Yeah.
So I send an offer in, right? He doesn't know what I just sent him. Like this owner that's selling the house, I sent him the offer and he has no idea what I'm sending him because he doesn't know what an offer looks like, what it means.
Oh.
So then I have to sit there and tell him everything that's on the offer, what this means, what this means, what this means. And I'm like, this is why you're supposed to have a realtor. So now I'm doing your realtor's job, even though
Oh,
I'm
no.
not getting paid for it.
Yeah.
So that's why it gets a little frustrating.
Very much
for
like
us.
a lawyer. It would be like someone. I imagine like someone trying to go to court and represent themselves, but have no
Yes.
knowledge in it.
What's the difference
Exactly.
between what's the difference between this is gonna be a dumb question. There's a lot of those coming too. What's the difference between a
For both of
realtor
us.
and a real estate agent? Is that the same thing?
Oh, okay. So a real estate agent and realtor, they're different.
Okay.
So a
okay.
realtor.
I didn't know
Thank
we-
God. I was like,
Yeah.
this is gonna be the dumbest
I was gonna
question,
say,
and I was just
yeah.
batting 1,000
No,
right there.
You're good. This is important. This is
My
important.
grandma
Okay.
was, but I can't remember which one she was, so I don't want to misspeak.
So
Yeah.
a realtor, you're a part of association.
Okay.
Okay.
that's
So
what my grandma did.
I'm a part of the Realtor Pioneer Valley Association or something. I don't even know what association I'm a part of.
Sounded good.
But when you're a part of the association, then you get to call yourself the realtor.
Okay.
But then there's some companies where you don't have to be a part of an association and you don't get to call yourself a realtor. You can only call yourself a real estate agent
Okay.
or a real
Gotcha.
estate salesperson.
But you need both to purchase a house.
No, you can
Okay.
be a real estate agent and still be. It's like the same thing. It's just a
Okay.
little
They're
title.
yeah,
different.
they're the
Oh,
same
okay,
thing, but
okay.
they're not.
They go
Yeah.
through different agencies. Oh,
Yeah, so like my
yeah.
company, you have to be part of the association.
okay.
So there's no matter what, you have to be part of the realtor association. There's other companies where they don't make you be part of the
So
association.
realtors like freelance, kind of more so. Maybe?
It just comes down to
Ah.
the company you work for. It sounds
Yes,
like.
definitely.
Okay, so it's a
Okay.
company preference.
It's a company thing.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But
okay.
it's
more
important to
sense.
be a part of the association. Like, if anything ever, like they got your back.
Okay. Versus
Real estate agent, it's just like
you're with a team.
no.
No,
You're more
you're not.
working
Oh
for
my
the
God.
company. Is it kind of?
Why am I having?
I have no idea,
Is
actually.
it kind of like a
Food for thought.
Is it like a union almost in a sense?
Yes, almost.
Yeah, almost.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
obviously
that
I'm
way.
sure there's some differences clearly,
Yeah.
but like
And they have
kinda more like that.
trainings and
Yeah.
stuff. Like,
Yeah.
just like, I don't know.
So they support you more for your career, whereas the company's just going to support you as an employee, kind of.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, is that kind of?
Makes
Kinda.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope I'm making sense and not just saying things. Yeah.
I hope I'm making sense.
No,
I
definitely.
don't
No,
know.
yeah. Okay, so what would be some things like? So we were talking about the kinds of loans you can get. I was always thinking, in my head, getting ready. All right, I'm gonna get an FHA, yada yada. You're talking about there's a 0% down loan
Mhm.
now.
So I'm not going to speak
that
like I'm
new?
a mortgage lender,
Okay,
but
But you've seen it happen.
If you want to like link a couple lenders to
Mhm.
this, that would be great. So everyone can fact check me. But basically, I have a client right now who just got approved for 0% down
yeah.
conventional
If you
loan.
know, if you guys correct us below, comment. If there's
No, this
anything
is
left.
real.
Yeah.
Like I have
Okay.
a client right
All right,
now.
okay.
So they're pre-approved for 0% down conventional. They are first-time home buyers, but there's so many loan programs. Then you have FHA, which is the typical first-time
Yeah.
home buyer, and that's 3.5% down. Obviously, everyone knows interest rates, or if you don't know, interest rates on home loans are so low right now.
It's actually fun fact, and you could probably correct me on this, but fun fact: the cheapest loan you can get is a mortgage, I believe, right? The cheapest interest.
I would say
The
I would
cheapest,
agree.
like
Probably.
from an investing standpoint.
Mhm.
Well, I've just always looked into all kinds of different investing strategies
Yeah.
and stuff, like I was saying before. And as of many people who are probably listening, we're in that day and age where this
I
information
don't think I ever thought of it like that.
is extremely out in the open now. And that was one of the fun facts about real estate, is that it is the cheapest way to get a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Or I shouldn't say to get a lot of money, but to get a loan, the cheapest interest rates are going to fall
Well,
on
like,
mortgages.
3 years ago, the mortgage rates or interest rates were like 5%.
Comparatively to
To right now, like if you have amazing credit, you can get
yeah,
like in the 2s.
that's insane.
So
That'd be awesome.
that is crazy.
And I'm thinking
That's
comparatively.
why credit is so important.
Credit's
Everyone
super
pay your
important.
credit card bills
Pay your
off.
credit card bills. And if you don't have a credit
your
card,
loans.
I didn't have a credit card until I was like 24, 25. That crazy?
Stop it.
Yeah, and now I have like 4, and I only use 3, but I make tons of money off of them because they're all cash back,
Oh,
and
nice.
I'll rotate with, like, honestly, I got it down to the point. So if you haven't already,
Wait, I need to learn that.
Yeah,
I don't
so-
think I have it down that good.
Okay, so get
Don't give out all the secrets, Mike. Don't
get
give out all the
into
secrets.
this. Get into this because there are options out there, and these companies are dying to give you a credit card. They're literally dying to give you a credit card. So if you don't have Credit Karma, set that up because they'll
Yes.
find credit cards for you.
But Credit Karma's not always accurate with your score.
Yeah, that's not.
But
that's
it's separate.
Not,
Okay.
Okay, so that's not what I'm. But that's a good point.
You're like,
if
that's
you're
not
checking,
what I'm talking about. Waylon.
well, the point is they will give you
they
suggestions.
recommend credit cards
Based
for
off
you.
of your
Got it.
based off of your credit score, if it's legitimate or not. The point is they'll give you a credit card that you can apply. They don't even have to apply for. They'll send the
Yeah, yeah,
application
yeah.
to you because there is a big difference between applying for a credit card and getting a credit card. And your credit score can go down if you apply for one and get it versus if you just say yes, I'll take this when they send you those letters in the mail
Yeah.
fervently every damn day. It seems. You
I
know what
I
I'm
have
talking
too
about?
many.
They just keep sending you. But yeah, you can get it down to the point where every time you're spending money, you're getting 2% cash back. At the very least.
I don't even know what I have. I know that I get a little back, but it's
Um,
not that much.
Saver for Capital One is a
also
great
never
card.
even used my
Discover
credit card.
5% Discover card is really good.
Yeah.
I have the Apple card, which is great because if you use anything to buy anything with your phone, that's 2% if you just use your phone.
Yeah.
And that's anywhere, anytime. So it's gas.
That's
It's
nice.
Yeah.
you could even do it like some websites will give you the Apple Pay option, and you
Yeah.
can just click and it
Don't have to worry about
buys it. So
Yeah.
those are things definitely to look into. But yeah, going back to how often do you come across people who are buying multifamily homes? Because I
Oh,
feel like that's
all
like
the
a
time.
that's a big move.
I have, so I mean, it's a different type of buyer. So I have like my investors
Yeah.
who are specifically looking for rental properties because they just want to build a rental portfolio.
Portfolio, yeah. Assets. Know the difference between an asset and a liability.
Yes.
I do not.
I tell you, have you ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad? I've probably heard
I've
about
heard
it.
of it.
You've had to have heard about it. If you're in real estate and you haven't heard about it, shame on you.
No, I feel like actually everyone tells me to read it, but I hate reading.
Yeah. Audiobook. I'm in the same boat. I listen to all my books. Fun fact. I listen to all my books.
I actually should do that because I'm
do
in my
picture
car
books, too.
24/7.
Think about your commute. So that's like economizing your
But
time.
is it boring?
No. Okay, so back to the sponsor of this episode there, at retired@35.com. He said to me one day, he pulled me aside, he goes, hey, he starts telling me about how he's got all these properties and you know, at the time he had like 26 units or something like that, or more than that. If he's listening, he could correct me if I'm wrong. He's got like 30 something now. He's doing very good. And he told me, you ever read any of these books, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I read, he was telling me about Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he said to me, "Oh, this book changed my life." And I go, "Oh, I've fucking heard that before."
Yeah.
I feel like that's what everybody says about a book they've read. You know what I mean?
Heard
I
that,
took
and it's
it.
never happened
I
to me,
did.
so,
I didn't.
yeah.
I know, me either.
Yeah.
I
Like,
didn't. I'm telling you now, though, I didn't take it with a grain of salt in a dismissive way. Though I took it in a grain of salt, like, well, I'll check it out, right? I'll pay the
Yeah.
time. I bought the book. I actually did read that book, and then let me correct myself. I read half of it and then listened to the other half because I just
Smart man.
I like listening more. Though after I cannot express that book literally changed my life. If it's half the time your financial mindset's going to come down to perspective. And that book reorients your perspective and understanding of how what an asset and a liability is, and how the rich make money and how the poor don't, like all these different things. Like I grew up in a household where people would tell me that credit cards are bad my whole fucking life, right? And so you realize through these steps and through these, and it's not even a book about money. It's a book about a man noticing his father's behavior versus his friend's father's behavior. So he doesn't have technically two dads, but his friend's father was a big influence on his life. And he taught him things like, you don't work for money. That's like the last thing you want to do. And obviously that's something we're all doing.
Yeah.
So
well, no,
it's
I
hard
was
to,
just like, I was just saying, like, I love real estate, but like I genuinely love it.
yeah.
And
do it
then
solely
like
for money.
Exactly. You would probably do it
Yeah.
for free, in other words.
Whoa.
See, that's what he
I
kind of.
like my job too, but I wouldn't do it for free.
Well, if money were no option, like object, sorry, would you probably still do it if you had like enough money to?
Yeah, like if I could live normally, like
Exactly. That's my point, and that's kind of the mindset. So typically, it's not thinking about would I do this without pay? Pay is something you can get from anywhere else.
Mhm.
The last thing you want to do is be stuck salary or hourly, and that's kind of the push with this whole financially independent movement that you see a lot of people, the entrepreneurship.
But I feel like
of
the
life.
issue with that is even like I don't have a boss. I am my own boss. I don't have a schedule. I run my own schedule. But the difference is I'm working all the time, even though I don't have set hours that I need to clock in, clock out.
Like, I remember,
and I feel like a lot of people like struggle with discipline, with being your own
that's a huge
boss.
That's a huge factor. That's kind of what happened when I got into fitness, because I was lucky enough to not just go, because a lot of people get into fitness and they work for a gym, and they'll be like front desk. I never got to do that. I literally just became a coach.
Was that like commission too, or how does that work?
So when I worked at the big box gym, Best in there, Springfield, it was you get paid based off of the sessions you complete. So you could be there for like 40 hours a week and get paid like 20 based off of your session completion.
Okay.
So you don't even really get commission.
Got
You
it.
just, you do in a sense, because like what they'll do is they'll sell the one-on-ones, the training. I'm gonna burp. No, I'm not.
Let's hear it.
False alarm.
Nope, you lied.
I got seltzer in here, and
Yeah,
so
vodka.
little seltzer vodka. No. So when they buy the sessions, they buy like a package of them, and then they schedule them out and they use them. So it was very boring, but it got me to learn a lot of communication skills. There's a lot of touch and go with people. You're contacting people at all times. I mean,
sometimes I show up to houses and they don't show up.
Yeah.
That happened to me a lot during my first couple years. And then I was like, I'm going to come up with the idea called I'm going to text them an hour before. And if they don't respond to me, then I'm not going.
Yeah, that's smart.
I was like driving 40 minutes and then I show up to this house. I'm like, hey, where are you guys?
Oh, that's a good point. You probably have to drive all over the place because it's always a different house.
Yeah, I pretty much go.
You need to get into audiobooks.
Don't
just listen to music forever.
Away, like an hour radius from like my office.
Yeah.
So it's far. I did drive to the Cape this year to sell my best friend a house.
No kidding. What?
Yeah.
So okay. So how does that work? So say I want to buy a house, and I can just call you up and be like, hey, can you?
Yeah.
Or
so
is there like certain houses you can only sell?
No.
Okay.
I can sell any house, commercial, residential. I don't do rentals, but if you want a rental, I can find someone to do it for you.
Okay. So you don't sell like 4-family homes or nothing?
Yes.
Oh, you do?
Yes,
okay,
I said any multifamily, any single family, definitely.
Basically, as long as you have the license, you
yeah.
can.
So I can sell a home anywhere in Massachusetts and anywhere in
now.
Connecticut.
That's awesome. That's huge. So talk about a large.
I mean, Mike's been looking for a house in Martha's Vineyard. He's been telling me.
Yep.
Me too.
No, but so that's cool. Have you? Okay, so with that commute time, you definitely got to get a book.
Usually,
reading a book.
I just listen to music, or the other thing is I'm just on the phone the whole time.
That's at least productive. But I'm telling you, if you're just listening to music, you just spend your minds. You're just spinning your mind.
Sometimes I just need to spin.
Good. It's good. Don't get me wrong. Have you ever read like 4-Hour Workweek? I mean, that's another popular one everybody's ranting and raving about. So that's another one about creating.
I'll have to check out all of these.
Financial.
I could
give
you an update.
Yeah, I'll message you about them or something. You can get. They're definitely on Audible. Tim Ferriss is a great wealth of knowledge, though, and back to like the mentoring and all these types of things.
Tim Ferry?
Tim Ferriss. He's the author.
Oh wait, no,
of
Tom Ferry. I don't know who Tim Ferry is.
Yeah, Tom Ferry, is that an author?
Tom Ferry is a real estate coach.
Oh, no kidding.
Like a global one.
Yeah.
But,
so
I'm not really into
they might
the
know
whole like the motivational speakers and stuff.
Yeah,
it doesn't really hit me Like I
Some
don't
of 'em-
not
some of
real
'em
Who's
fan.
that guy?
Yeah.
The famous one back in the day. I can't remember.
But like Gary
Tony
Vee.
Robbins.
Yes, thank you.
But like
Gary
Gary
Vee's
Vee, I
awesome.
love Gary
Gary Vee's
Vee.
awesome.
But that's because he's like real.
Exactly.
Like,
Well,
he-
that's a motivational guy.
Yeah,
Get
I
off
know.
your
Well, that's what I'm
ass.
saying. Like he's probably the only
Crush it.
motivational.
I read Crush It. I listened to Crush It.
I listen to all Gary Vee's podcasts. I love him.
His podcasts are great. He had Tony Robbins on there too. Tony
Mhm.
Robbins is another great influencer on this stuff. I read kind of like half of his book, Crushing the Market or something like that. And it's a very long-winded book about the market. And at first, I didn't care for it at all.
Yeah.
But it is so good to understand the stock market and be involved in the stock market, especially
Yeah.
if you like free money. I mean, and that's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
know
something.
nothing of
Yeah,
of that
because of this
nature.
guy, I
The
got into it too a
sooner
little bit.
the
He
sooner
does
you
it.
look into it, the more you learn. It's good to just do it.
Yeah.
Right? You can't really we can't make mistakes at our age.
Literally Cash App. That's all you have to do. You
You,
just get
believe
Cash
it or
App,
not,
you can
don't
invest
let
through Cash App.
anybody tell you can make mistakes at our age. We're far too young. You could really detrimentally fuck your life and come back out on
Oh
top
my
in
God,
5 years.
I hate that.
It's anxiety provoking for sure, and by no means am I saying to anybody, Jay, just go and fuck your life up for the sake of fucking your life up. Listen, what I'm saying is take on risk, right? You can do that now.
Yes, you definitely. This is the time.
Risk
to do
is
the
so
risk.
important, and
because
typi-
if you fail, it's gonna be
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
You're only 25.
Exactly,
26,
and your
however old you
success
are.
is typically proportionate to the level of risk you take, right? Because I mean, it was somewhat of a risk when we decided to buy the gym I work at now, and it's only proven to be good. I mean, everybody.
Did you guys buy it or are you leasing it?
Oh, well, we lease the property.
Yeah,
we own the business
yeah,
because the
got it.
property is obviously it's a big building. And the landlord's such a nice guy. Shout
That's
out to Terry.
awesome.
Yeah, we really got lucky with the whole situation. And
So if we shut down again, can I sneak in there?
yeah, honestly, we were doing okay. Do you have an Apple Watch?
No,
we
I
were
don't
doing.
want it.
I have Samsung. Okay.
Yeah, it's honestly probably better not to. It kind of drives me nuts sometimes. But where I was going with it is that we were doing the competition, so you can all invite each other to a 7-day
nice.
competition, and it was actually really fun, and I really enjoyed most of the shutdown. I can't. I don't have much to complain
Speak
about.
for
I
yourself.
know. I know. Well, I went to Arizona and shit too, so I was like, I'm
I
out
was
of here.
I
locked
haven't had
in
to
my
commute anymore.
house, like the most depressed.
Yeah, it's honestly
so pissed
it was
that the gym's
so
closed.
so gray and
Wait,
dark.
did you have your gym then?
Yeah,
I
I've had
should've
my gym for like
messaged you.
I've had my gym. We've had it for like over a year now, year and a half.
And like I
almost.
would have paid you like a lot of
We
money.
were
to
we
get
were
in there.
working we were working out and we were having fun there.
Oh my god, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was kind of cool because we were like full steam ahead. Everything was trending upward. Where everybody was working like over 40 hours. It was nuts.
That's awesome.
And honestly, if this didn't happen, I'd have probably gone mentally insane. But
yeah.
given the fact that we did take a hit from it, you know what's crazy? A lot of places shut down around us. Like 3 gyms so far.
Well,
Powerhouse,
wait, recently?
Velocity,
Or-
yeah, in Long Meadow,
Oh, you mean shut down forever?
forever.
So funny story. I used to work at Velocity.
Really?
Yeah, for literally like 2 months.
What do you think happened? I mean, besides the shutdown,
I mean,
do they suck or?
Give us the deets. You
Give
got
us the
the
deets.
I'm not gonna talk bad about a company, but like I
She's gonna.
definitely didn't see the value in the workouts.
Oh, was it just a personal training place?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
just a personal. It was a boot camp place.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Like I got it, but I don't know. Also, we had to work like the 4 a.m. shift, which was not
Ooh.
cool.
Yeah, I really was always salty about going in for the 6 a.m. class. 'cause
I
we
remember
used to
I'd
have.
fall asleep at like 6 p.m. at night because
Yeah.
I'd like have to wake up at 4 a.m.
Oh, I wish I could even do that. I wouldn't be able to even if I tried. I was in.
I
I
hated
was
that.
I at like a microchip during when I went to Arizona because it's behind. I was going to bed at 8 and waking up at 4:30 without an alarm. Like, all right, I guess
Savage.
I'm ready for
Oh
breakfast.
my
like
god,
like
I'm not
normally.
a morning person.
But I stopped drinking coffee and everything like that. Like that's been a big struggle for
Crazy,
me
man.
You stopped drinking coffee
altogether. Yeah.
like in general?
Yeah, I stopped for like a month, and now I drink it like once every
If
couple
I
days.
don't have coffee in the morning, like
Yeah.
just don't
No,
even
if-
try it. at
if
all.
anybody wants to know what addiction's like, try not drinking coffee.
No, it's a thing. If I
It's
like don't even
hardcore
have
addiction.
it like until noon, like
Yeah.
The minute I like taste it, I'm like, oh, I'm a happy
And I
person
work,
Yeah,
again.
I know. The
I work
moment
from
I
home
think
all the
about
time,
it.
so I just drink
Yeah,
coffee
me too.
nonstop. I just
It's-
make pot in the
it's-
morning and it's just good all
It's
day. Like,
it's such a thing where you can really hone in on what it's like in the mindset of somebody, because I think it's easy. You see that a lot where people are like, oh, how'd you get addicted? But honestly, half these people are addicts. I mean, if you were to try and quit,
Oh, I'm 100% a coffee
it's
addict.
so crazy. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm getting a coffee.
Oh,
and
It
yeah.
I'm
like makes
"Woo!" I'm
makes my
totally
morning
stoked.
when I have like a bunch of appointments and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to stop at
Yeah.
whatever little
Myself.
coffee
I
shop
know.
I'm going
Oh, yeah.
to.
And to
I'm
make-
like, I can actually get up for work because now I'm gonna go stop at Shelburne Falls.
Yeah.
in East
Oh my
Long
gosh,
Meadow.
Shelburne Farms is so good. We have one right there in East Long Meadow, right on the road. The guy I work with drinks coffee nonstop. Okay,
Yeah.
Monday he had 3 large dunks. And Matt, if you're listening,
Oh
you
no,
could
then I
correct
start
me.
shaking.
Matt,
Right
no.
when you
Matt.
start shaking.
Me, I could drink
Yeah,
it all
he
day.
could-
I
yeah.
don't have an
No.
issue. Yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah,
I
I-
like to do like one of these, and
I can
then
do a
once
small.
I do
That's like
this,
nothing. I need like
then
2 more
like
of those.
I'll start shaking.
I can
Oh,
do
yeah.
a small coffee black.
No.
That's it for the
And
whole
then I'm
day.
meeting my clients, and I'm like,
Yeah,
How you
exactly.
doing?
They're
You're
like,
doing-
what?
Yeah, he had
what's up?
someone's house,
three.
get
He had
someone's house.
3 large coffees and then a monster. I'm like, dude.
No,
How
is
are
his
you
heart
alive?
okay?
He goes, he goes, ah, man. One time his eye was twitching. I'm like, he's like, oh, my eye's twitching. I'm like, dude, it's probably because you drink so much caffeine. He's like, nah, it's not.
Nah,
that."
nah, it's gotta be something else.
You're like, no.
I
The
had
other
that
day
for
he
a little
goes,
while. It can't
he
be
goes,
that, though.
my eye stopped twitching. It's probably because I didn't have enough caffeine.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
But no, I'm telling you, man, it's really hard to stop for a bit because you're gonna want it the most. Because I was drinking it for like almost 2 years straight for a while.
I mean, I've been drinking it my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like from a very young age.
Oh yeah, but I'm gonna tell you right now, the kind of sleep you get is unparalleled. It's
Really?
insane. Like I one time, okay, so I get in a good.
I mean, I'm the best sleeper. I just
Oh,
don't
then
wake up.
you're in a good spot. I'm not. I'll get like insomnia from drinking coffee, so that's why I kind of have to like pick
well,
my
that's
days.
good
Oh
to
yeah.
know.
No, I literally will drink coffee. I could drink coffee at like midnight, say, and then go right to
Yeah,
bed.
you guys are wild.
It doesn't
Jeremy
affect
would
me.
take caffeine naps. He'd call him like,
Yeah.
dude, you're
Oh,
out
my
of
It
your
doesn't
mind.
affect me. I used to when I was because I work in Hartford,
Uh-huh.
so that my office is, and when I was commuting in, I'd have a big like travel mug, probably holds like 10 cups of coffee.
Oh.
I'd have that, and then we had like a Starbucks kiosk in
Wild
at
animal.
my place too.
No,
I'd
I
walk
would be
down there,
literally
grab
shaking.
like 2 coffees during the day, and I would grab usually iced coffee with a shot of espresso. So
Oof.
even more caffeine on top of that. Yeah, I'm a junkie.
So you're a
It's
real
bad.
addict.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you're a
bad.
real addict.
It's
Dude,
bad.
I'll be honest though, but well, for me, I could just feel myself breaking down. But yeah, the sleep I'd get, like I remember turning off my alarm and then I have a snooze that's like 9 minutes. I fell asleep between the snooze and I've had like a 3 hours worth of dreams, it seemed like. Like I lived a 3-hour lifespan in 9 minutes worth
Don't
of
you love
sleep.
that?
I woke up, I'm like, shit. How long did I sleep for? And it was like 9 minutes later. I'm like, oh my God. So it has its good effects for those. And I just like to voice that because if there are people out there who suffer from like anxiety or sleep deprivation or anything of that nature, you'd be surprised how much more peaceful your life gets when you stop
That's
taking
good
that much
to know.
stimulants.
What Mike is saying is drink more coffee.
No. Don't
You can
drink
just buy
any more
you can just
coffee.
buy caffeine
Yeah,
in the
just-
capsules. Just take line them up
Don't
right
even
before
put
work.
it in the coffee maker. Just start taking ground
Did you
up
hear about
coffee.
that? There was a time where there was kids buying them and trying to make their own pre-workouts, and like there was a few deaths
I've
because of
never.
it.
God,
I've
that
tried
sounds
pre-workout once and I hated it.
See, that's what
I
got
felt
me
like
onto it.
my
That's the one thing
heart
that'll do it for
was
me.
gonna
I feel
like
that. Yeah.
pop out of my chest.
Yeah, it's high levels, and then
But
what
I
you
enjoy going to
yeah.
the gym. I don't need energy for that.
no, I've phased out the whole pre-workout thing because that's what I was relying on for so
Yeah.
long. So it really wasn't that I needed like I was still getting my fix for caffeine for the longest time doing my pre-workout, which was even worse because like you said, it's a larger dose than a regular cup of coffee anyways. And I'm pretty sure the synthetic caffeine digests differently than
That
yeah.
was a sly
I gotta-
little move. I like
No,
that.
I got a
That-
call.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
You're like, shut.
I know this thing goes off
Get outta here.
sometimes. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the difference between caffeines. Like
What
tea.
was I talking about?
Oh, I forget all the time. Space Cadet 9000. I bought an astronaut
No,
costume.
I'm,
That's why
I'm
it keeps
just
me
as
around.
bad. I'm surprised. I feel like I'm doing pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Trying to stay on. Oh wait, look, now I'm next.
Uh
I'll
oh.
just do what you do.
Yep, that might not work for the.
Punch mine.
Yeah, I've thrown this thing off. So I want to go. Let's go back to real estate here. So what was it like during like the shutdown and COVID and everything?
So
Was it tough?
surprisingly, this is what happened. So I had a lot of pending deals, which means that.
Oh no! No, it
was
Oh,
good.
this is good. Okay.
No, this is good. So when March shut down, March was like basically none of my current clients wanted to go see homes and no one wanted to really list a home.
Mhm.
So I kind of just didn't do anything, but I had previous deals that were still under contract that were set to close. So I was just kind of working on those. So, I mean, I definitely didn't have too much to do.
Yeah.
But in my year to date, like sales, it doesn't look like it really affected me at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as things started opening it up again, then clients were like ready to go see houses. So I personally didn't really see a huge effect with it, but you know,
Yeah.
someone else could have.
Yeah. Because
But
So it just
luckily-
depends on the timing of
I know.
where
And
you
then
are
the
with your-
interest rates went down. So
Oh yeah, I was gonna say because I thought
That
there was gonna be a
helps it.
really. So is it true that right now it's a seller's market?
yes, 100%
Okay,
true.
so it's a seller's market.
This is what's happening.
What does that
You-
mean? What's the difference between a
so-
seller's and a buyer's market? That's a
Seller's
good question.
market means that you
learning,
list a
Mike.
home. So say
Pat's on
we
the back.
list your house, we price it, accordingly, and we put it on the market. And from Friday to Sunday, we have 12 offers all over asking price. That means it's a seller's market because the sellers are getting crazy amount of money for a house that's probably not really worth that much
Okay.
because there's no inventory. So there's not enough houses for sale right now
I
due
gotcha.
to COVID because people don't want to list their house.
Mm.
Classic supply and demand.
Yep.
Exactly. So it's a seller's market because there's no inventory. So sellers that are selling, there's a bunch of buyers, there's not enough sellers.
Yeah.
Buyer's market, opposite. There's too much out there. Buyers can,
Yeah.
get a better deal.
So what are the different
Oversaturation
ways you
sorts.
can? What are the different ways you can buy a house? Like sometimes you can buy it straight off the market. Like when there's foreclosures, how does that all
So
work?
foreclosures are a little different. There's only certain loan types that are gonna pass for foreclosure homes, and majority of the time, investors just get them before anyone else can. So it'll be like an investor that has cash, and they'll just go and put a bid on it, cash, and then
Oh, nice.
win
Okay.
it.
And you can get it from
a lot of bids though. It's not like what people think a foreclosure is, where you go and
To the
like stand
bank.
outside the house
Okay.
or something and bid on it. I mean, I have heard of realtors doing that in the
Storage Wars style?
past,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
now it's all online.
Okay.
So there's companies out there that now take the foreclosure homes, put them on their company website like Hubzu or something, and then there's a bunch of fees attached with it. So now you're paying for the price of the home and then all these fees
right.
for
Right.
the foreclosure.
Is it definitely cheaper to buy a foreclosed home?
Um,
Usually, because you
I
buy it from
mean,
the bank,
if
right?
you're buying a foreclosure, then it also needs a ton of work. So
Yeah,
you
that's
have
the-
to have
I'd
like a
imagine
ton of
that'd be the opposite,
cash
yeah.
to.
So what
to
are some
fix
what are
it.
some buying tips for those of us who are looking to buy a home? Like, is there certain
So,
things we should look for?
Yeah, well, there's certain things you should do before you start house hunting or get pre-approved. Is
Okay.
obviously you want to make sure that you're
Good credit.
working for 2
Okay.
years.
Yeah. Proof of
Um,
income for that.
Yes,
for 2
proof
years.
of income for at least 2 years. And then you need to have credit, like a good credit score,
Mhm.
preferably above 640. The higher the better though, because the higher.
639. No. I also have. I think mine's close to 800.
That's
Over
awesome.
700.
So yeah, you'll
I-
get
I'm a-
like
I'm
an
a cre-
amazing
I'm a-
interest rate.
I'm a debt-free person, by the way.
Me too.
Zero
She's
debt.
special.
Yes, I am very special.
It's because I didn't go to college.
Yes, same. I had my car and I paid my car off, and I'm like, well,
Okay, so I
debt-free.
guess I do because
Brag
I
about it
have
all the
my
time.
Jeep, which
Oh,
definitely
so see,
is
yeah,
not
I had a
paid off.
loan that was too big for the car that I have. Come on, but
What do you mean? That's a nice Mercedes you got out there.
yeah,
Mike. What are you talking about?
it's a Lambo, dude. Come
Oh,
on,
sorry,
no.
sorry.
I paid way too much for that car, but yeah, I was really adamant about getting rid of that because of interest. You know what I mean? You're paying
Mhm.
that off. Like definitely, if you're gonna be getting better credit too, I will say, and you said it before, if you're getting better credit through a credit card, pay that off. Credit card interest is awful.
Do you
yeah.
follow Dave Ramsey?
No,
He's like all about debt-free life.
really.
Yeah, I
I'll
just
have to check
actually
him
followed
out.
him on Instagram the other day, and he puts out like a lot of good like motivational quotes and stuff, and like basically like debt-free, like how to live debt-free
Okay.
and why it's so important.
Okay.
But it sucks. Like I feel like so this is what happens. My clients, they make awesome money. Everything's good. They have great credit. They have a great job. And then they think that they can afford this crazy house because, on paper they make this much.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mortgage lender runs all their stuff, finds out they have $70,000 with student loans. Now your debt to income ratio is like way off. So
Okay.
now you can't afford as much as you thought because of that. So that's why
Yeah.
as like little debt as you have.
Most people, in other words, that's called financial cancer. When you don't have, like everybody, I will encourage and I will continue to encourage everybody and anybody to make their own cash flow statement of their own personal. Like I have one for just, rent,
Mm-hmm.
essentially a list that comprises my fixed costs and my variable costs, and then what I can save
Yeah,
is left
definitely.
over at the, you know what I mean? That's a very simple chart, and your iPhone can do it, your Android can do it, any phone, any computer, like most computers should come with some type of software that can make a graph for you. It's so.
Some pretty good apps out there.
Oh,
too.
actually, Google
Yeah.
Docs has
Yeah, Google Docs is awesome.
what the hell is it called? Sheets.
Excel sheets.
Sheets. Yeah, Excel sheets.
There's checkbook app too. I think
Sheets.
it's called. My
Sheets.
girlfriend uses it. It works really well as well too.
What
And
is it?
I think it's just called checkbook. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if that isn't the first, if that isn't a firm first step into becoming a little bit more financially intelligent, I don't know what is, because that's kind of really where you're looking at your money and you're understanding cash flow. That is alone is going to help you
The
out big
other
time.
thing is a lot of people come to me and they want to buy a house and everything. And I think it's important to not drain your bank account when you're purchasing a home. So, you obviously want to save. You need your down payment.
Right.
You need money for your inspections. You need money for the appraisal.
And so
There's a bunch of extra little fees that you need. But you want to make sure when you get into the house, like you still have money. Because, unless you're buying a new construction home, like something's
gonna go wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something's bound to go. I bought my house and the hot water tank broke like 2
Oh,
months later.
no.
I'm a realtor. Like,
How
and,
does
like
that happen?
it happens.
well, because I mean, how often are you going to be like
exactly.
on top
You can't.
of
You don't
the-
know when something's
yeah.
gonna break, and during inspections, the inspector can be like, "This is great shape,
Yeah.
right? Like, okay, cool." Then you get into the house and it breaks.
Ooh.
What are you
Yeah,
gonna do?
not so
So
great
it's like
shape
you want to
anymore, huh?
have
Yeah.
a good cushion.
Yes, and yes, so that would be then going back to just making sure you know what's going out versus what's coming in, right?
Yeah.
Is that something that kind of happens? They don't know that mortgage ends up being as large as it is.
The
Based
other
off
thing, so the issue is you go on Zillow and Realtor.com and Trulia and all those great websites that show all the homes that are on the market,
Uh-huh.
which I have a love-hate relationship with all of them.
which ones? Where?
Like Zillow,
Zillow, yeah, yeah.
Realtor.com, Trulia.
Yeah.
And then they give you this mortgage estimate. And I'm like, where are they getting this number? That is the most
I always wonder that
inaccurate
too.
mortgage
Okay.
estimate ever.
That's good to know. That's
It'll be
really
like,
good to know.
oh, this $250,000 house, your mortgage is only $800.
Yeah, it's like, what credit score are you using this against?
No,
Like,
it's so then if you actually click on it, it first of all, it's doing it with 20% down
Okay.
payment. Okay.
So that's just an
So
automatic.
that's off the top. They're doing
just-
it with 20% down, which
Okay.
I think
Who
like
pays
how
that
often
much?
does that
I
happen?
would say 10% of my clients do 20% down.
Yeah.
Like it's very rare that people do
And
20% down.
Understand too, if you're in the financial position to be able to put 20% a lot. You know what I mean? If you're buying a house for, in other
It
words,
is a lot.
yeah, it's like so. If your house is $200,000, and that's not a very big house at all, right? I mean, that's still 40 grand.
Yeah.
So, if you taking that into account, and compare your interest rate versus how fast the market grows, back into understanding the stock market, the S&P on average grows to 8 to 10% a year interest.
Yeah.
So if you can get away with putting down as little as possible, to put down a lump sum that big into a house might not be advantageous.
No, it's so I always thought prior to a client I had that, putting the most down is the smartest move. This is
You think
definitely
so?
opinion only. Hold on, let me
Okay.
finish. Opinion only. So my client was buying massive house, very expensive. And he told me before he's bought and sold a bunch of houses. And one time he put, I don't know, $120,000 down payment on a
Wow.
house. And then the market crashed and he never got that money back because then he
Shit.
sold the house and it wasn't worth what it was.
Yeah.
So he put in $120,000 that he never got back. So now he was like a Navy guy, so he can do the 0%
Wait,
down
where
too.
did he put the money?
Into his loan.
Okay.
So say he was buying a
And the housing
$500,000
market crashed.
house.
Okay.
And then he put $120,000 down payment. So then he
Oh.
only paid $480 for the house
Uh-huh.
or whatever, $380. I can't do math.
Neither
Edit
can
this
I.
out.
That sounds better at math than what I can do. So
This
I'll
is
give credit.
raw. I can't go through all of it. It's okay. We'll forgive you this time.
Okay, thank you.
It's a one strike rule in this podcast.
But basically, and then the market crashed and like the value of his home dropped, but then he put the 120 into it, so he could never sell it back for
Wow.
what it was.
And the market never bounced back to that height
Not in the time span when
that
he was
wanted.
leaving.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because the only time you lose is when you sell, folks. That's another thing to understand, especially about investing in any sense. Like if he still had the house now,
it would be
unfortunately,
fine. Yes, exactly.
that wasn't in his cards. But
the statistics say that average first-time home buyers stay in a home for 7 years.
okay, so there you go. You compound. Say you were putting down $40K, and you could have got away with putting down $5, and you put down $35K into the S&P. average of 8 to 10 per year times by 7.
You already lost me.
That's a
after
massive
couple of that.
I
compound.
have
though.
no idea what you're talking
Well,
about.
Yeah, you lost me after the first couple numbers.
it's just an investment
It's a lot
strategy.
of
So
math.
so I'll try to, in case I did lose anybody there.
You
so
lost
say
us all.
we'll just say as a blank statement, you have $35,000 you can put into the S&P, which
What's
is
the
just
S&P?
so it's just the S&P 500 is a compilation of the largest 500 companies in America.
Oh, okay, got it.
So it's just it's an ETF. It's an electronic trade fund. So it's a stock that's made up a bunch of other stocks. Like Nasdaq has its own select, and I think the Dow has its own as well. Though the S&P is extremely productive in contrast to the rest of them. And when you put money into it, obviously when you put money, investing in it yields you 8 to 10% growth per year. Right? So if you, in other words, had $100 and then in a year it grew 8%, you have $108, and then that keeps growing up by 8 to 10% by 7 years. And that's why it's so important to have like a Roth IRA, because Roth IRA is free, tax-free, or pre-tax dollar, and then when you take the money out, it's no taxes. And
I know, I was just with one of my friends in Vermont, and she's like a financial advisor.
Yeah.
And I think it was like a group of 6 of us. And she just kept telling us that we all need Roth IRAs.
Yes.
And none of us have any.
Roth IRAs are super important. So there's this really old-fashioned idea of having a what the hell's the other one?
401k.
401k.
That's what I have for my company.
Yeah, most companies
but that's
offer
more a
it.
company thing. My boyfriend has 401k.
It's more of a company, but the problem is
That's super smart as well if you can get it.
with a 401k is that once you take the money out, it's taxed. So the difference is where the money you invested in total into an IRA, even though there is a cap, you can only invest so much. I think it's like $6,000 a year. Is that when you take that money out, it could be in the millions depending on how ambitious you are and how much you're investing. Now, you take out a percentage, whatever income tax is, 10, 20, 30%. That's a lot of money from a million.
Yeah, I've had clients
That's what happens to a
money take out money out of the 401k.
Well, that's the problem with it, and like that's. Maybe
but you can
where the
move your
difference-
401k too.
Oh, you can.
And
And I did that
if
one
you like
time.
move companies.
Yeah, I did that when I moved from Best Buy.
really
So
smart.
real estate, like as a realtor, like I don't have any type of
Oh,
retirement.
you set one up. I have
I
my
know,
own.
I
I have
need
my
to.
personal one. It's really easy.
Oh, yeah,
I go
you're the
through
same.
Vanguard. Yeah. You just go through Vanguard, and you can just
I'm
set
just
up
gonna
your
wing
thing. You could wing it. You could wing it, but again,
That works.
you have to ask yourself.
I'm kidding.
You have
I'm
to ask
kidding.
yourself like super simple questions. Well, some people might not. They're like, that's too much, dude. It's honestly just as easy to set up a Roth IRA as it is any bank account, and it's free money. If you're putting money into it, like I said, super simple. Invest into.
See, I have
S&P.
commitment issues where can't like once you put it in.
Yeah.
How long can you?
Can't take it out till you're like 55.
Yeah.
But
See,
it's
don't
it's
like that.
good to invest like that
Yeah.
though. I
What
like
if
that.
I need it?
Well, it's
It's not meant to.
Here's
be
the
something you
thing.
need.
Here's the thing.
It's not
Yeah.
meant to be.
the
he
last
says.
thing you want though, the last thing you want, because so in that book Rich Dad Poor Dad, a really big learning curve, a really big thing that I learned is the difference between an asset and a liability. So what an asset is something that makes you money, and what a liability is something that costs you money. So most things cost you money.
Yes.
And in that equation, typically cash standalone is a liability because 3% inflation per year. If you have $100 in your bank, at the end of the year, it's worth $97.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be.
And most
$100.
people don't have $100. It's thousands of dollars. You
Oh.
lose tons of money if it's not invested. There's literally almost no point. In other words, besides having a cushion that might be able to provide you with paying off your passive and variable expenses.
See, this is my
For a
issue
couple
with
months, you
putting
wanna
my
make sure
money
you're-
into something where I can't get it till I'm 55. What if I
Well, you
don't
can-
live till I'm 55?
Well, you
with
won't worry
those-
about it then. You'll be dead.
But like then I just couldn't use it for all that
No,
time.
you can.
Well, what
if
would
I'm
you
not
use it on
mistaken-
anyway? Or what would you spend your money on anyways?
I don't know. Whatever. What if I needed it?
If I'm not mistaken, you can with those. You can still take them out. You just
Yeah,
get penalized. If you
you
take
get
it early.
penalized.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you can
Like a
take it out.
tax
Yeah, yeah. It's not
penalty.
like you can't.
It's not
take it out.
forever. You
Yeah.
can't take it out.
No.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's still. I think it's like 53 and a half.
Yeah,
too,
because
to be
it's.
honest.
I think my
That's just-
401k is something like that.
It
Yeah,
might
you
be,
can take
Yeah.
401. Yeah.
but it's so. It's I talked to your ear about it
Your
it when I
wife,
saw you for the
I know.
first time because it's just such
You
a
got me
huge
investing now,
revelation.
thanks to
Well,
you.
it's so obvious, and it's a little tough at first to kind of navigate how the market works and what you want to spend your money in. And at first, you have ideas of something. Oh, this is going to be a great stock to invest in. But I can tell you right now, it's pretty damn simple. I mean, think about what you have. You have an iPhone, right? How much Apple stock do you own?
0.
How many Apple things do you have?
A lot.
So like I make sure I have more Apple stock than I do Apple things because I like the product and I believe in that company is going to excel. You know what I mean? That company standalone is already $1 trillion company and I think the first company in history to be $1 trillion company. And
Sounds right.
yeah, and they've just been growing. And
Maybe
there's
Amazon.
Tesla, Amazon's a good, but Amazon's like $2,600 a stock. You could even check that for me, Deo, if you want.
Gotcha.
But imagine.
Remember
you know
when Amazon was just a website for books?
I know. What happened? I don't even remember when
I
it
don't
just
know
all of a
when it
sudden.
changed.
You know what I don't know either is when Netflix came by storm. I feel like
I
it was
remember
just
being like 13 watching Netflix and watching the weirdest foreign scary movie.
yeah. Well, I remember
yeah.
I had Netflix back when you had to get wait
The
for the
DVDs.
CDs in
Yes,
the mail,
yes.
the DVDs in the mail.
You are right, by the way. Apple was the first company hit a $1 trillion cap.
Yep.
2018.
Yep. So you follow along with
then
these
by-
things. You probably hear about them, like you know as much. You know, even though you say you don't know much about the stock market, you know Amazon's a good company. You know Apple's
I
a
think
good company.
everyone knows that.
Exactly. But does everybody invest in it? And that's the thing. Not many people understand free money
I
because they
invest
rather
in
have
real
cash
estate.
now. Huh? Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
That works
that's
too.
true.
I mean, honestly, like for me, someone like me who's not that well versed in all this, like even like an app like Cash App has an investing like section that you can do. Real simple. You can throw in just a little bit. You don't even have to buy a full stock. Like you could throw in like $20 if you want and just buy Apple or something and just get in it that way too. And it's like there's plenty of stuff you can use
to make it
nowadays.
like simple.
At least to get into it and get learning, and you can kind of get yourself like
And it really
acclimated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so important. It really come full circle and easing people's worries because a lot of the times people think, oh, debt bad. Some of the most affluent people in the world make so much money off of their debt. Because again, like, so my mentor, the guy who's sponsoring this episode for retired@35.com, he's got, I don't know how many different apartments, right? He probably has.
So is that what you want to do?
No. I mean, I might do something small like that.
Okay.
Like, I can assure you I won't. At some point, I'll be a little bit more of a mobile.
At 28.
20, yes. Honestly, I wouldn't mind being retired.
How old
at
are you
35.
now?
28. Exactly.
Oh.
I'm retiring tomorrow, guys. This is
Looks like
actually
your time
this
is
is my
up.
celebration, and you are the people who I wanted here. No, so he's probably has, and I've never asked him this. I'm just gonna ballpark it, but millions of dollars in debt because he has multiple.
Oh, because all the houses are not
yes,
paid off.
millions and 1000000s. So you might have, I don't know, between 3 of those 4 family homes that
But
could be
think
a
of
million.
his like actual monthly income he has
So
coming in.
exactly. So we're just ballparking. If he's listening to this, I don't actually know. I've never asked you, so I'm just gonna guess. But you can imagine maybe he's got like $100,000 coming in, if not more, a month. From all those different properties.
So then you pay your mortgage.
Pay the mortgage,
and
and then you have
Supposed
you have your net.
save the rest.
Save the rest, right? Do what you do with the rest. But again, there is a certain point because you have to ask yourself more simple questions. How much money do you need to make, if it's passively or by working, that you need to live your life? So, like for instance, if you could make $3,000 right now without doing anything, would you be able to live your life?
No.
No.
Like $3,000 a month?
Yeah. Probably not. Maybe 5,000.
I can. Yeah.
So the whole point.
Honestly, I lived off of much less.
Yeah.
back
Yeah,
Exactly,
Like, if I'm being
exactly.
honest, I probably have to.
Exactly.
So,
So my point is, how much money would it take to for you to make passively, to not need to be anywhere at any time, any place? You know what I mean? Like you could just be wherever you want.
Yeah. Well, that's the goal.
That's the goal, right? So
That's why everyone needs to go buy a multifamily.
Exactly.
And
So
then
it's
call
not
me
always
when you want to do
yes,
that.
and it's not always terrible to have that debt because that debt self pays itself.
But
because
let's talk about the horror stories of rental.
yes. Oh well.
So, you know,
That's
it's
the ones that'll
all-
catch you.
It's all great, and you're getting all this money every month until
The
your
toilet
tenants
explodes.
don't pay.
And squat.
Yeah.
So this might be something you can attest to. It's probably better because this is what my friend does. All of his rental properties are in Connecticut because of the laws.
Oh, okay.
Eviction laws are different.
I don't know yet
Yeah.
the Connecticut rental laws.
Like you can straight up squat in Massachusetts and you cannot be kicked out.
Yeah, so Massachusetts is known for like it's very
Yeah.
hard to evict a tenant, especially during COVID. Multifamily properties to sell were very hard because if say it's a 2-family, if you're doing an FHA loan, you need 1 unit vacant so that new owner can live in one side and rent the other side.
Okay.
Say there's 2 tenants in the house, 1 in each unit, and we say, hey, we're selling the house, you need to leave.
Oh, no,
Governor
that's
Baker was like, actually, you don't need to leave because it's COVID-19. So then all these owners that need to sell these houses or whatever their situation is, like they can't get these tenants out. You could not evict.
Oh, wow.
You could not evict anyone from, I don't remember the start date, but I think it just ended.
Yeah.
But it was
That sounds about
multiple
right.
months that.
Yeah, here it's tough because I like Eric, our teacher.
Yeah.
I helped him paint one of his places way a long time ago, and he had an upstairs tenant lived there for months.
Oh yeah.
No
and
pay.
then so yeah, that's the other thing with COVID right now. So tenants, they don't have to pay. And then what are these? Especially if you're, say that I just went and bought a multifamily in last November, okay? And I'm like this new owner, it's my first one starting off. Obviously, I'm not some crazy investor.
Yeah.
And I have, great tenants. Everything's going fine and dandy. And then COVID hits, and all of a sudden, those 2 tenants are like, hey, WayLynn, like, we're not going to pay because
we don't want to.
We don't want to. It's COVID-19. And they said we don't have to. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm counting on a certain number from them so I can pay that mortgage.
Yep.
So like what? So I feel bad for a lot of like first time.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. Don't pad your pockets. Rule number 1. You want to make sure that cash flow statement isn't just for you, especially if you're in the business of owning real estate. You need to make sure you have a cash flow statement for your business, or rather for your real estate business as well. Because like you said, say something goes awry like that and they're not paying, something breaks in there, you need to make sure you can pay in a professional or foot the rent if somebody's not paying
Exactly.
it. And that's kind of where the savings comes in.
And that's kind of a good telltale of when you're ready to take that step.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have that extra cash when the furnace breaks and now you need 10 grand.
Yeah, and you have to fix
that. If you don't have that, if your tenants don't have heat,
they can't live there.
And I feel like I've seen a lot of people like in our age group, maybe a little younger, that are really like for some reason stuck in their head they need to buy a house and just buy it and don't think about stuff like that. Yeah. And then all of a sudden something breaks.
It is the tradition around our age, like, oh, get married.
I mean, I will say, if you're a first time home buyer and listening to this, when we go and house hunt, I do check for all those things because the last thing I want is my first time home buyer. I mean, any buyer, but seasoned buyers, they know what they're getting into and they've sold. They already know the process.
It's not their first
But first time home buyers, like if we're walking to a house and you love the house and it's gorgeous, but we go downstairs and the furnace is 100 years old, that's being over exaggerated. But say it's like
1,000 years old.
Say it's really old, like, and maybe it's working right now, but is it gonna last till next winter?
Yeah, that's a shitty thing.
And then you call me next year and you're like, WayLynn, my furnace broke, and I'm like,
yeah,
I told you.
Yeah, I know.
So, but anyways, my point is that I do make a point to tell you that. And like, I know you love the house, but are you ready to take on a big high ticket item? So my biggest thing is to look for I rather look at high ticket items and make sure that they're covered. The roof is good. The furnace is good. Your hot water tank is good. Like all those things that cost a lot.
How do you
that's
go through that checklist?
On.
Is there in other words, some type of detail?
No, I just walk through the house.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Really? Okay, and you could check like the roof and the.
Well, like I've seen enough houses where I know what a bad roof looks like.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, I'm not gonna be like this roof is 18 years old.
Yeah, no, my grandma was like that.
She sticks her finger in there. Yeah.
The
gutters. The gutters.
That was bad.
They're going.
No, but like you can see, after you see so many houses. Like
you know what
to look for.
Well, I was really more inquiring on like what type of information you have access to, if you can access repair reports.
So in Massachusetts, you don't have to, as a seller, you don't have to disclose anything. So there's a sheet that I give my sellers, and you have 2 options. You can either disclose absolutely everything don't know about the house, or option 2 is just say, I don't know.
I learned kind of something about that. I've just recently watched Haunting of Hill House, and in one of the episodes they're saying,
I can't do scary.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of scary movies either. I kind of dragged through it, but you know what? It was a good story.
That's what
weird.
Everyone says.
It was not like your typical. It was definitely disturbing. I
can't even watch a scary commercial.
I'm not even gonna try.
But anyways, there was a certain part where they mentioned you don't have to disclose like if somebody died in your house to the seller.
Yeah. No.
I mean, not for nothing, but they didn't even disclose to us that the apartment I live in right now.
Yeah.
And the lady that lived there before passed away in the apartment.
So the thing is, it's like buyers or renters, like I can't talk.
Jujitsu?
No.
Due diligence.
Yes,
Due diligence.
Thank you.
Gotcha. Jujitsu. That too.
I tried.
Jujitsu too.
Jujitsu.
So yeah, you really in Connecticut though. I just got licensed in Connecticut. You have to fill out your seller's disclosure. So there are disclosures.
How tough is it to get congratulations if I hadn't said that already, by the way. But
Thank
what's the process for that?
So it's actually a reciprocal state.
Uh-huh.
So you just have to have a good standing with your association and the state of Massachusetts. Okay. They send a bunch of letters of good standing to Connecticut. You fill out an application form. You pay a bunch of money. You're licensed.
Boom.
Yeah.
So that's not too
bad. But if
I
want to get licensed in like a different state, it's probably not reciprocal.
But if I'm not mistaken, like, because I only remember this because I used to install satellite dishes for DirecTV for a little while, and one of the tests, we were based in Connecticut, so that even though I worked in Mass, they made us take a test, and it was similar to a test. I believe they said that like real estate agents in Connecticut have to take.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's a test.
So
as well,
my first test was in Massachusetts, so I never took the Connecticut one.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have to.
So I don't know.
Gotcha.
But in the real estate test, there's 2 tests. It's a national and then the state.
So can you get like Vermont too and New Hampshire?
Yeah, I could if I wanted to drive all the way out there. But I'd have to like figure out the whole point. The reason why a lot of people don't get licensed in Connecticut is because the amount of money you have to pay to get licensed, it has to make sense with the amount of deals you're going to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Shoot, you've been doing good. I mean, have you been making a lot of sales out there? I always just look
at
the house.
Yeah, I just had one in Connecticut, and I've only been licensed for like a couple weeks. So
and they're nice houses, too.
Yeah, the taxes are high.
Yeah.
In Connecticut?
Property taxes are high in Connecticut compared
to
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
That's like
my girlfriend's been looking, and we've been paying attention to that. Yeah,
You've been looking.
You know who to call.
I know.
Dale.
You
know who to call.
That's why I was happy to hop on this podcast.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to help you guys.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely do our best to like get you out there as far as what our platform can provide. But the whole point is obviously, guys, if you and we'll probably wrap this up. You said you only have an hour today, or do you have to scoot?
Hold on.
Because honestly, it's a huge help. And I'm speaking for myself, honestly, because I was thinking about this. My friend Matt, shout out to Matt Karen and my business partner. He's in the. I'll actually refer him to you.
Yes.
We have so many clients who are also real estate agents, but you know, well, Sarah Mitchell's. She's an older lady. I don't know. Do you know a lot of them?
Yeah.
Do you know who? Oh, come on. Michelle Delorier? No, okay. I kind of don't want to say that name. I'll have to.
That wasn't very. Yeah,
that
wasn't
not
very quiet.
Well, I don't want to say like last names of clients.
So it's like realtors. We work with each other so much because there's always 99% of the time, there's always 2 agents on one deal. Okay. So there's a listing agent and a buyer's agent. And this is another thing I think people get confused on. So I am a buyer's agent and a listings agent. Every agent is. Every realtor is a buyer's and a listing agent. Basically, it's whoever's that position during that sale. So I just listed a house. I'm the listing agent. And then now I put it on the market. Then a buyer's agent comes with their client, shows the house, puts in an offer, submits it to me. I show the seller. So it's like you have someone representing the seller, you have someone representing the buyer. Okay. And the point of that is so like you can get the most, for negotiating and everything.
It's very much like an agent, I'd imagine. Like if you have an agent, if you're like a celebrity or something and negotiating a contract, like that's what you guys are doing.
Exactly.
And now it can be 2 different companies, right? Like you guys.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I work with so many realtors, from different companies. All the time, every day.
So what's the I want to say the right word here, but what is the benefit or like the gamble? Like say do you try to work the price down for me, or how does that work? So
this is how it works. So realtors get paid by the seller.
Okay.
So the owner of the home pays the realtors. Whatever set so say I'm the listing agent. Mm-hmm. That means I'm selling that owner's home. I go to his house, I tell him everything I'm going to do for him, and then we set a list like percentage price that I'm going to charge. Me say whatever percentage is, I split it with the buyer's agent that brings the client. So then we split that fee together.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It kind of makes sense. Yeah. So then that's
like buyers don't pay for a realtor. Okay. So if you're a buyer and you're looking for a house, you hiring a realtor costs you $0. We get paid from the seller.
Okay.
So that's why it's like, why would you not use a realtor when you're buying a home? I can understand when people are selling their home and it's for sale by owner because they want to avoid realtor fees.
Even then, I don't know, because like I said, I imagine it's kind of like going to court without a lawyer.
It
like,
is.
I don't know what I'm
so
doing
much to it. Yeah. Just like the example I used earlier, like I just submitted an offer to a owner that's not a realtor, and you have to explain everything to them. They don't even know what you're sending them.
So the process starts with you. Say I want to buy a house.
Yeah, I always suggest going to a realtor first. They will
Okay.
get you connected with a mortgage lender to get you pre-approved. And then from there, like it kind of just does like a snowball effect. I also have my first time home buyer guide that I can send to you, so you can
No
like
kidding.
link it somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll link
Definitely.
it below. Wait, is it yours? Like personal?
It's mine. I
Did you
made
make-
it
No
myself.
way. Is it a website?
Do you want to see?
Yes, and it will be below as well in the description, guys.
Like how
Is
she
it-
holds that out till the end.
Yeah, right. No, well,
Probing her
hold
for
up.
questions.
Hold up, though. Is it a website?
Yeah, I think so. I like made it into a flip book, so I text
Let me
this
see.
link to my clients.
Is that a straight up? Oh, okay, okay.
And
I
then like
gotcha.
it gives you the overview of like the home buying process.
Yeah, if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, guys, go to the YouTube version, and the link will be below if you really want
Yeah,
to get a
it's
little
pretty cool.
bit more of an educational
So I always
experience.
text this to all my clients. So if you want a copy of it, it's my home buyer guide. And then I also
Nice.
have a seller's guide as well. If you're looking to sell your house, of everything to do to prepare
kidding.
your home to sell.
And you made that as well?
Yes.
And are those two different links?
Yes.
Okay, just send me both.
Okay, cool.
For sure. So I'll make sure
Thank
they're
you.
already below.
Yeah,
so
those are
people
really
can check
helpful.
those
So
out.
anytime I like connect with my client, that's the first thing I send them before I even sit down with them, because it kind of gives them a little bit of an idea of what to
Yeah.
expect. Because the process it's a lot
Yeah.
and it's long. It's tiring,
Yeah,
especially right
that's-
now because it's a seller's market. So
Yeah.
I have clients that have submitted probably on 10 houses and have lost every bid
Wow.
because the bidding wars are so crazy right now.
No kidding. So there's the real. Okay, so even though it's a seller's market, people are really trying to buy.
Yeah, well, the interest
Okay.
rates are so low.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Well, there you
Mhm.
go, folks. Honestly, because I always every time I think about buying a house, I feel like it's this mountain of
That's what I always feel like.
like it's scary. I'm like, well,
Well, it's a huge decision. I always like tell my clients, like, I don't want anyone to ever feel like pressure from me.
yeah,
I've had clients come to me after they worked with other real estate agents or whatever the situation is, and they felt like their realtor just wanted them to just buy something, like as
Yeah.
it was just a sale. And like, I don't work that way. I want you to feel 100% confident that you love this house. You should feel like you absolutely love it. I don't want you to feel pressure from me that I'm trying to just like get
That's smart.
my commission
well,
check.
that's kind of where I was thinking about earlier when we were talking about the personal aspect and who you have to be and how you have to be for these people. You have to become not just a salesperson, but a friend
Exactly.
and a guide and a teacher for that process, because it's obviously.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's
overwhelming.
What a good salesperson
I have
is
clients
building
that
good
still
rapport.
text me from 2 years ago,
Yeah.
like, WayLynn, how are you? Like, I remember their children. Now they're graduating law
Yeah.
school. Like, it's like you build relationships with these people.
That's pretty cool too. You got a good network opportunity through your
Yeah,
job as well to
definitely.
just meet people. And it's like, say it's somebody who has a common interest or,
It's all about. I probably could be a little bit like better at it, but
well, you'll get
Okay.
there. I mean, how many
Yeah.
years have you been doing this?
so I've been licensed for 3 years.
Yeah.
But I was doing it like for another realtor, like doing admin work.
You
and
come a
stuff
long
for
way. I'm
another
gonna just say right
year.
off the bat, hands down, you've got to be, at least to anybody that I have as friends, the most ambitious real estate agent
Thank
I
you.
see doing things. Because I mean, here's 2 things. Because you're good at using the internet. And I say
try
it
for the
like that
marketing.
because so often do people only consume on the internet and they don't produce. And this is something I talk about all the time on how important it is to not just be a consumer on the internet, but also a producer. And you're somebody who shows your work and gets people involved. And okay, look at this. And you, like just today, you posted
I
something
just
about
try
a
to make
family
it
getting
like
their house.
exciting for
Yeah.
people. And I know it can be a little repetitive.
No,
like in the
that's
shows,
what
but,
people.
like,
that's
know.
kind of a brand, though. It's like if you have an ice cream shop, there's nothing repetitive
Like
about
my
having ice cream.
clients literally will text me before closing day and be like, "WayLynn, like, can you bring the sold sign? Like, we want to take a picture of the sold
Yeah.
sign." Like, I'm trying to make it like a thing.
An experience.
Personal, like, personalize
exactly.
it, yeah.
And they love it.
Yeah,
I
because the
love
last
it.
thing
and
you
it
want
makes
to
me
do.
so excited. Like that little boy that I posted, he was like the
Yeah.
most like little Sam.
Yeah.
And he's like so excited. He doesn't even know what's going on. But like his parents are excited, so he's excited. They're holding the sign. It's
Yeah.
like, they'll remember it forever.
You got to make it an experience because it's such
And
a
most
big
of the time,
deal.
if someone's buying their house, like, and it's gonna be the forever home, like
That too.
they're never gonna do it again.
Yeah.
That's
So-
right. That's very true. That could be the first time, and it could be one of some people's biggest asset too
Yeah.
going forward because they put money into the house, and that's kind of how a lot of generational wealth is begins to accrue is through the purchase of a home that stays there for a long time. Because the beauty too about real estate is that it's inflation free because it increases with the market always.
Yep.
So it's always a pretty decent investment to go into.
And if you're renting, You know, I mean, it's definitely a
Like
good
I am.
start.
Like me.
I could literally just be burning money.
Well, that's my point.
kinda-
Like,
it's-
if
it's
you
money gone.
can
Doesn't go
save
anywhere.
enough to buy a house and you're spending however much you are in renting, like I have clients that are spending $1,400 a month on
Right.
on rentals. Like they pay $1,400 a month to their landlord. I'm like, do you know how much of a house you can buy with
Or-
$1,400 a month?
So my counter argument, that's kind of been my point of it. But at this point, I'm like, obviously, I want a
yeah,
house.
let me hear it.
But my thing is I pay that 14, or I pay, I think, like 1,300
Yep.
a month. And for that, what that means is if something goes wrong, I don't have to worry about lawn maintenance. Like if
Oh
something
yeah.
goes
Well,
wrong,
you have a condo.
no, just a regular one bedroom
Okay, but
apartment.
then here's the other side of it.
Yeah.
So you're renting for $1,300 a month for 5 years.
Yeah.
How much money? Like how much
Yeah,
is that?
Oh,
in
that's
total?
why.
that's
like,
And then
yeah.
when like if
Huge.
you were owning, yeah, you have to do your lawn work.
And I don't
No.
actually mind
And
that.
then,
I
but
like yeah.
then like you're okay. Then you go and sell 5 years. You'll most likely will profit a little bit, and then you get to all that money back
Exactly,
that you
yeah.
paid into it.
And that's where like I've started to see in the
So,
last like year or
mhm.
so, I've gotten in the better spot financially.
Yep,
That I feel like
definitely. You
own a
wanna
house. Yeah.
be
But
Yeah.
financially stable. Obviously.
I feel like too many people jump into it and
Too
don't
fast.
think. Yeah.
Mhm.
don't
Well,
think
what
about
you
that kind of
do,
stuff.
what one might do, is that they'll take into account how much they pay for rent and everything,
Mhm.
and then go, I can't afford a mortgage. But what they don't realize is that your rent becomes like, so when I'm looking at thinking of buying a house,
Mhm.
I'm thinking, well, if I can get a house that's maybe only $200 more than what I pay
Mhm.
for this,
Mhm.
then I'm in pretty good shape because this isn't even mine.
Yeah,
And I'm only paying 200 more, and I'm an over time building an asset of some sort, right?
Exactly.
Or I'd have more ability. Like I really like. So the reason right now that I'm really wanting to get a house is I would love to make a real studio.
Mhm. Like
I'm
in the
not gonna
basement
start
or
paint. I'm not
something.
gonna start
Mike, what are you talking about? This
painting
is a real
room.
studio.
This
It's
is
aight.
No, don't
this
let
is
them know.
pretty legit.
It's a
It is.
makeshift, but I would totally paint these walls matte black. First thing.
Mike, they don't know that. You could just tell them it is black. They
I
don't know.
honestly
They-
thought it
yeah.
was painted.
Yeah, this is a king
Well, not
size
like
sheet.
in person, but when I was watching
Yeah,
like the
but
videos
yeah,
prior.
You're ruining the surprise. You're
Well,
ruining
that's
it.
just it. Like when the viewer, you don't know.
They're
it.
seeing how
You
the
don't.
sausage is
Yeah.
made, Mike.
That's
Just let them
exactly
use
it.
their imagination.
But yeah, it's really a money suck to be paying for rent because you don't get anything out of it.
Exactly.
Now you do have like he was saying some different freedoms, and depending on your lifestyle, it might be advantageous
yeah, if
to
you're
rent.
not planning to stay somewhere
Yeah,
for
why-
at least a couple years, like it doesn't
why
make
buy a
sense
house?
to buy.
And that's been like my thing. Like I don't know. We don't know where we want to go. So
but I
it's
mean,
kinda
majority of people don't
yeah.
even start buying a house till they're 24, 25.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
But
you're
at
not
this-
going to be
yeah.
19. Oh yeah, let
He's
me go buy a house.
56.
Yeah.
No,
Three
that's just
kids.
kidding.
Wow.
In a one bedroom.
Yeah.
Packed
We make
house,
it work.
man.
We make it work.
But yeah, so
That's something to think about. Honestly, I'm
I'm
all
trying to
about
think
it.
of like what other things I can cover.
Yeah. So okay, then, because I had another question. It was like, if I don't know, I forgot what it was. It is really important though to make sure your money isn't stagnant and isn't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I always it always goes through my head like, oh geez, if I wasn't what I would do with my rent if I wasn't paying it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
It's always kind of a fun thought because like on like a last whim, because the nice thing, or it's not really a nice thing, but out of the attribute of being somebody who's renting, as soon as I move, the last month is free because I've already paid for it, and I
Mhm.
get security. So it's like double rent back, and then you can like, so don't forget that too. I don't know if a lot of people, depending on how long they've been renting, if they have a security deposit and last month paid, then you have that much money to go into a different investment with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have
And-
a dog that I'm not getting that security deposit back.
Yeah.
Right now. It's not
That's the
happening.
other thing.
Yeah.
There's no restrictions when you own a home. You
I
get
know.
a parrot for
I
all.
can't
You
have
don't to
any
deal with
pets here.
neighbors. That's the one thing I'm looking forward to. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, because there's an upstairs here and the neighbors moved out, which is great now. But when they move back in, it's like there's nothing they can do to help stomping around.
unless
Yeah.
they're just gonna sit there quietly and not make a move.
Yeah,
like, you
and
know,
that's
they gotta
not.
live their
Yeah,
life.
it's
You
I
just
don't
can't-
expect that
inevitable.
at all. But yeah, no, I'm.
What do you mean I do? For all my neighbors, don't
It's
move.
just stomp.
Yeah,
Stop moving.
Don't make any noise when I'm home.
I have like a foghorn downstairs. You're making too much noise. So I felt like sometimes here, but yeah. So we could wrap this up. I don't have any more questions. What else could we go
I don't
over?
have any more answers.
I know. I'm trying to think
Start
of what else
closing.
we
What else
could
you
go
do?
I just
over.
maybe think like a generic of how much you need to purchase a home. Should we do that?
yeah,
Yeah,
please,
yeah.
for me,
Honestly,
please,
what's
for
a
me.
Okay.
good amount of money
so
to
let's
have
do
stored aside?
What should the
Thank
price
you,
point
by
we
the way.
should
That's
do?
a really good question.
Like
So
250?
250,
What's a decent
300.
si- yeah, like,
300.
what's a decent price for a house?
350.
I feel like 250 is normal for
So
a
if I want
first-time
to, like, what's
homebuyer.
the good price? Like, if I want a house I can grow a family in, like, what are we probably talking about?
I mean, it depends on the area,
Gotcha.
obviously.
He's Polish, so he's like 9 kids.
All right, let's do 300,000.
It's actually 10. All right.
All right, let's
What
do
are you?
$300,000 house.
And a whole bunch of
And
other stuff.
let's just make it easy, and we're gonna do the first-time home buyer loan. Okay?
300.
So 300. So first off, before anything, you need your down payment. Okay. So
Okay.
3.5%.
0%.
There is the option. We're
Yeah.
gonna do FHA only.
Okay,
So
FHA.
FHA is the first-time home buyer loan. So right off the bat, your down payment off of a $300,000 house is gonna be $10,500
If
that
I
you
want to, oh, that's your,
need-
okay, down.
down for
Okay.
your down payment. The second thing that you're going to need is inspection. So you have your home inspection. That is roughly $500.
I've heard
Okay.
horror stories about that too, where like,
Why?
no, well, only in the sense I should say where someone I worked with went to go buy a house. They
Uh-huh.
did the inspection, and then the inspection failed, but they still had to pay for it. Like obviously,
So there's
stuff's
not a
paid for.
pass or fail with inspections. That's another
There's
like
a-
misconception.
okay, so there was
So
something else that happened.
Basically, that's the point of why
Yeah.
you get an inspection, though. You want to find out
Exactly,
everything about
yeah.
the house, and that's where it's like, okay, you're investing that $500.
Yeah, that's a
kind of
worthy
an
find out,
investment.
but
in
it's
itself.
worth it because
Yeah.
if you find out the electrical's all messed up, so this is the thing: you go through
Do
home
they have to fix
inspections. You have a repair request.
Okay.
So we go through the home inspection, then we get the report back from the inspector. We go through it together. We list. I always do high ticket items on it. We're not going to ask them to fix the doorknob. We're going to ask them to remove the knob
Yeah.
and tube wiring in your basement
Okay.
Yeah.
because that's the most
Or the
price-
asbestos,
exactly.
or just like
exactly
yeah.
things of
Oh, yeah.
that, like safety things.
Right.
So we put that on the list. We send it to the seller. If the seller doesn't agree to it, we can try to negotiate the price. If he doesn't agree to that, that's when it's like, okay, this house is not for you. You don't want to
Gotcha.
take
Yeah,
on
no.
this issue.
Right.
Okay, so that's the whole point of the inspection, to find out
that's-
everything and try to renegotiate all those repairs to get done for you
Huge
in
part.
reason.
Yeah. That's a huge part of the
Just an
negotiation.
investment,
Yeah.
basically.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So that's $500. Then you need your termite inspection. So that is $85. So I always say just $600 for inspections in general.
Okay.
Those are the basic inspections. You have radon inspection, you have air quality inspection, you have well water inspection, there's a whole bunch of other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the bare minimum
Yeah.
inspections that you need for your loan. Okay.
Yeah, because then
But-
there's like Title IX and stuff.
Yep,
for-
Title
yeah,
V for
Title V,
your
thank you.
private septic,
Yep.
which that just gets into too complicated.
Yeah,
We're gonna go off
way-
of just
yeah.
basics.
Yeah.
So home inspection 500, termite inspection 85, $600. Let's just say for inspections. The other out of pocket cost you need is your appraisal. So when you're more towards the end of the deal or middle of the deal, your bank hires an appraiser, like third party service, to go out and appraise your home that you're buying. They make sure that you're not overpaying for the house. They stick a value on the house, unbiased opinion. They run comps, yada yada yada.
Mhm.
That is $500.
Okay.
So you're gonna need for a $300,000 house, $10,500 for down payment, give or take $1,000 for home inspection and appraisal, out of pocket. Immediately, that's what you need. Okay, so at least 11 or say 12,000
Yeah.
for a $300,000 house.
Like
The
one of those
other
safe guys. In my
things-
head, I'm already thinking 15 to 20.
Yeah.
Well,
15 to
that would
20.
be so. This is the other thing. So when you buy a house, you have your down payment, you have those things we just spoke about, and then there's closing costs, which people forget about or don't know about. Closing costs cover your attorney fees, lender fees, escrow, prepaids, insurances, property taxes, like a whole bunch of stuff.
the good
And
stuff.
usually for my first time home buyers, or if you don't have the extra money, we 99% of the time ask for the sellers to credit you like $5,000 for closing costs. That's usually how much closing costs are. Probably for 300,000, they're like 7 or 8 grand.
What do you get out of a closing cost? Is
You
that just
have to-
paperwork?
So closing costs are all those things I just listed.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. I thought you meant like, okay.
Yeah, so it's like
Like,
that.
that was a
someone has
cost
to
to
pay
close.
for it.
Okay,
Exactly.
gotcha.
Yeah, they're all the costs to
Okay,
close on the
gotcha.
house. So I'm losing my train of thought here. So you have the $10,500 down payment. You also need the $8,000 for a $300,000 house on the closing costs. You can ask the seller to credit that for you, but it gets rolled into your loan. So if you're going to offer $300,000 house, but you need $8,000 worth of closing cost credit, you need to offer $308,000
Gotcha.
and have $8,000 credited
Okay.
for you at closing.
Because like the insurance gets rolled into that and stuff, doesn't
Yes.
it? Yeah.
So
What does your mortgage end up being roughly with that after you put an FHA for 300,000?
let me pull up my mortgage calculator.
That's
Really
actually
making it work for it, Mike.
well. It's kind of
And I'm not a mortgage lender, so
it's a
don't-
good like ballpark type of because I would probably buy a house around 250.
so.
to
But
300.
majority of people get their closing costs covered, unless you have that extra.
So it's not very rare.
It's very rare that my buyers have closing costs.
Oh, really? So it's
Yes.
factored into the price of the home?
That's what I'm saying. So that's why
Oh.
you would offer $308,000 with $8,000 back
Gotcha.
towards closing costs. So you offer so that you're net offering the
So then it would
owner
3.5
$300.
So it'd be 3.5% out of the 308. So your
Yes,
FHA would
yes,
be based off of that
yes,
after closing
it would.
costs.
It
Okay.
would. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so closing costs we get covered by the seller. So you need your down payment, inspection, appraisal, basic.
Yep.
So you're looking at like, $12,000 to $13,000 out of pocket if you get your closing costs covered by the seller.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's really good to know.
And then
Not
I
bad.
don't know what your mortgage payment. It's going to be hard to estimate a mortgage payment because
Credit score is a big factor, I'm
that
sure.
and property taxes. So
Come on, if Zillow can do it, come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
Zillow's-
so like if you buy a house in East Longmeadow compared to Springfield, Springfield property taxes are a lot lower. East Longmeadow is obviously going to have high Longmeadow property tax.
Oh my god. Well, I was like looking at
Getting a little too bougie there.
apartments out there. It's like $1,500 for a 2-bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
The tax I
Craziness.
showed a house the other day, the taxes were like $9,000. I'm like,
What?
for what?
$9,000 for what kind of house? Just any house?
Just a
or-
normal
Oh,
average
that's
home.
just how it is.
I mean,
Is this-
probably 400,000,
Yeah.
but $9,000, that's a lot.
So
That's almost $1,000 a month on top of your mortgage, or
Yeah.
like including your mortgage.
yeah.
It's probably like $700 a
It's
month
insane.
just in taxes,
Nuts.
property taxes.
The
Go big or go
difference. I
home.
want to know.
I hope I like made sense with those numbers.
You probably did.
It made sense to me, so it's got to make sense to somebody else.
Yeah.
It makes
If
sense to
not,
me.
You're-
it's in my
you're-
home buyer guide.
You're in a room with the village idiot. So
Yeah,
like,
so, hey, yeah.
well, I'm.
if we get it, they have to get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
I want to know though the difference between. So there's that. You got me crazy about the 0%.
Mhm.
The 0%.
So there's
down.
different
buying a
qualifications.
house
There's
tomorrow.
Buy a
a
house a month.
I'll send
How do you get
my
that one?
guy.
Okay.
So it's different. So this is why it's important to
'Cause why would
shop
anybody would-
mortgage lenders
Right. Why would anybody do an FHA if they could just do the 0?
because they are not aware that it's available.
Okay. So okay.
And there's
You've said that before
Yeah,
too. I'm
Mike.
sorry.
There's income caps.
Okay.
So if you make over a certain amount, then you don't qualify. It's for like certain
Oh.
qualifications of a buyer. So
That's
I don't
probably good
know
to
what
know.
the caps are. You have to talk to the mortgage lender.
24.
All I know, all I
low.
know is that my clients just got approved for it. So that's a cool program. And I can have you reach out to them and see
Yeah.
if you qualify.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You're gonna have to send me a ton of links. Just make
Mhm.
sure you put everything, if you can remember it, below, and
I
I'll ask
will.
you if I
Mike's
have.
gonna have a new podcast studio by like next week. He's gonna have a brand new home.
No, it's gonna take a while.
No, but seriously,
I'm
when my
fine here
clients
for
find
now.
out that, they were like, "Oh my god, like let's go buy tomorrow."
Yeah, like it makes it. It's a much easier process because you're already gonna have to be okay with paying, interest for a long time.
Yeah, that part you just have to like
Yeah.
get out of your head.
How does a mortgage work versus other? I mean, I know you're not a mortgage lender, but versus other loans, because
What do you mean?
doesn't it? Is it just a straight up, number, and then it's just charged with interest per payment, or
I have no idea.
okay? Because I've heard there's like different. It sort of cycles in a way versus.
Well, there's like
a
fixed rate mortgages. That's when it's like the 30-year fixed rate is what you want.
yeah.
I don't want to speak too much about this.
Yeah, I know.
I don't
and
know.
then of course you can dive into getting rate adjustments.
Yes, there's
as time
so
goes on.
much.
Yeah.
So this is the other thing. There's a lot of my clients will call me and ask me all these like number questions that have to do with their mortgage lender.
Yeah.
Everything about a house, you talk to your realtor.
Yeah.
Everything about
The mortgage.
money
Okay.
and numbers for your mortgage payment or whatever number question you have is for your mortgage lender.
Yeah.
And then your attorney, anything legal.
It's
Gotcha.
kind of like taking your car to an auto body guy to have your engine repaired. Sort of.
I know
Like
nothing about it.
like you know kind of about it, but you're
Yeah.
probably not the best source.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I don't
yeah.
know that.
Numbers are. Well, that's just it. You get into.
It's just like there's so much that goes into each person's role. Like as a realtor, I do so much in my role. As a lender, same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So-
I know exactly what you mean, because like the mortgage, the lender is sort of like the CPA in that transaction, so he knows the code and
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
different qualities that go into getting a mortgage and the different types of mortgages. Like say you already bought a house, what do you do then? What kind of mortgage do you get? Can you go right for that 0%? Or well, obviously based off of your pay, you wouldn't. But what's the regular rate if I already had bought a
Like
house?
interest rate?
Yeah, say I already bought a house.
Well, you can
Not
refinance.
not interest rate. I'm sorry, not interest rate. Down payment. So I say I already bought a house.
You can do like a conventional 5% down.
Oh, okay.
You
So
don't
it's-
have to roll all your money. I mean, it's kind of smart to, but if you don't want to, you don't have
Right.
to.
And it's smart to just to get rid of extra interest, essentially, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people are like refinancing and stuff this year, obviously, because the interest rates were so
Yeah.
low.
I know. I was thinking there was going to be a ton of foreclosures because of this, because of there's so many people.
So
Just
what
from a statistic?
everyone said, like, I feel like the media in
Yeah.
the news were like, everyone's in crisis mode, and
Mhm.
I'm like, the real estate market's like booming, so I don't know what they're talking about. And
Yeah.
then I came to realize that everyone that can afford and purchase a home has a job that's like not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Where compared to obviously the restaurant industry got like hit really bad.
Yeah.
But like where waitresses really, like I was a waitress. You can't get a loan to buy a home as a waitress. Like
No.
you're
Most
all
waitresses
cash.
probably aren't
So I'm
looking
like,
for it,
okay,
yeah.
so that's that. So like that.
And
I
the
just like
fitness
kind of
industry,
started.
you're to tie to that. It's honest that you're totally right, because the fitness industry might have been the second one hit pretty bad, along with entertainment. And most of those
And
people,
retail.
if you're in entertainment, you don't need a stage always to make whatever. Like say you're a really professional entertainer, you're still making money off of royalties or other
Exactly.
projects anyway.
So
that's
I
a good
feel
point.
like a lot of things that got shut down where the media was saying like this is going to affect whatever. At the end of the day, like it really didn't, because those people weren't really looking for a house to begin with
Seriously,
or
honestly,
in the position to.
yeah, I always say that. Don't even get me started. I'm like so up to here on like how sensationalized a lot of stuff was. Especially, I mean, we're all living in it now, so it's kind of if you're not paying attention, then I don't know, But it's very obvious, and it's funny because back to like what they're really demonizing, like, oh, this is a very bad place to go. Since we're technically a gym, fitness area, whatever, we get put in that category, but we don't have just members walking in. There's always
Yeah.
coaches or professionals proportionate to the amount of people in there. So
Yeah.
there's always there's a very systematic
But I also feel like the people that like, I mean, I'm speaking for myself here, but
yeah.
like the minute the gym's open, I was there. Like I did
Yeah.
not care. But
No,
it's like
I
the
didn't
people
care
in
either.
general.
It was
like
so awesome to be at the
anyone
gym.
that's
I hadn't
going
been,
to the gym feels
yeah.
that way though. Like they just want to get their workout.
And it's funny because I hadn't been going to the gym prior to that, and then I was like, oh, it's open, and I was like, you know what, this is nice. Like I could do this here and there. And it's like everything I needed to do and work up a sweat was there, and it was just like a luxury I had forgotten.
Yeah.
Similar to like concerts. I was talking about that.
Oh, I miss concerts.
I was like, I really miss catching a show, and I can't wait till that comes back.
I know,
Yeah.
me too.
Just for me, like not being able to commute anymore is kind of big because like that's
I know
like
my boyfriend's been working
yeah.
at home forever,
it's-
and now
Yeah,
they're just like
that's
not
the
going
goal.
back.
no, same with me. We're probably
Though
like I'm probably not going
I'm
back
telling you now, so
next year.
4-hour work week was all about that. It was
Yeah.
leveraging your job. So your boyfriend, you're in a great spot for this. You can essentially be wherever you want to do your job.
Yeah.
And so
Well, that's why I was like,
yeah.
so can we move to Hawaii? He's
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
no.
Well,
Abu
that's
Dhabi's
that's
open
tough.
right now, I
That's
heard.
tough. Well, here's the thing.
What?
Abu Dhabi's open right now. They're taking anybody that's remote and works remote right now.
really?
Yeah, you can get application to go there
Yeah.
with a temporary visa or something. I heard.
Well, yeah, and
Well, I
you
can't
can
go
go
anywhere.
you can go south. You can go south like Central America, Mexico.
Yeah, there's some
You can
islands.
go-
There's a lot of. countries
Anyways, you
doing
go
that
to
now.
Buenos Aires right now. So what that book dissected is different economies. So you can take the dollar and go somewhere like I love going
Yeah.
to Canada because Canada is 30% less, or rather, the dollar is 30% more powerful there. So when you're buying stuff, you can get like a $70, $80 meal, and you just flash 30% off, and that's what you paid in dollars. Especially if you're paying for using a credit card with no foreign transaction fees, which look, all the credit cards I have, all the credit cards you should have, because it's very easy to get, can do, and you just boom. You pay very minimal for maximal stuff, and it's such a great experience. So if you have a remote job, you can say back to understanding, well, how much money does it take for me to be alive and enjoy my life? I mean, you could really tally that up and go to a place like Buenos Aires, and this is just an example that Tim Ferriss gave in the book 4-Hour Work Week, is that you can go and live there, and he even did the math for you and be like less than $2,000 a month for like lavish, like a lavish lifestyle, like 5-star
crazy.
hotel, like craziness because of just the difference in economy. And if you're making dollars on your computer, and,
Just
and
depends
you have,
what the job is. Though,
you have
'cause,
internet.
like, if you work with time zones, it's the biggest. Probably the
Oh,
biggest
yeah,
issue with that.
definitely.
it might even work to your favor though. He kind of had a thing in that because like say you work from Massachusetts And that's one thing I realized when I went to Arizona, because I was still running aspects of the company from where I was out there, because I still needed to upload videos because we were doing online classes. And I was like, perfect. I got them all here, upload them on a timely fashion. And it worked out to my advantage because when it was 5 a.m. for me, actually,
it was
no.
2 a.m. here.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
No, yeah.
I'm from California. I should know this, but it's been
the other way. It's actually the other way around.
Yeah,
it was the other way around.
there.
So for me, I was up way later than them. So in other words, I could get work done.
But it would be like,
Yeah, so they would be closing out. It'd be like 5 o'clock for them, and it would only be like 2 o'clock for me. So I could then pick up where they left off.
Like, you trying to tell me to leave? Is that what you've been trying to tell me?
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
I see. If you haven't noticed, he's been looking at me the whole time when he's saying this too.
Well, you have the remote job. I can't look at you and say this because you got to stick around. You got to stick around, and I'm in the same boat, unfortunately, because running a facility and with everybody and our awesome coaches, vacation. That's the way to go. That's the way to go. You got to find your niche and you got to stick to it.
Yes, definitely find something that you love.
Yeah, I got to find that itch.
Find that itch and scratch it. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up now.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
This
thank
was
you
fun.
so much for coming on. This was really educational for me personally. I hope you guys learned something. The listeners.
Yeah. So anyone listening that wants to buy a house,
honestly,
or sell a house, or know anyone that wants to sell or buy, feel free to message me anytime.
And I'm not sugarcoating it. Hands down, easily one of the most ambitious real estate agents in the area. Easy to get a hold of.
Yes, definitely.
Proactive online, like I was talking about before, which is an aspect you don't always get, even though it is a luxury we all have, is access to the internet. And you'd be surprised how many very talented people, who, in whatever field they're in, whatever it may be, do not take advantage of displaying that.
Yeah.
And you kind of keep that connectivity in the sense of community there. So, guys, all the links will be below. Please check it out. And thank you guys so much for listening. All right. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace out.
Peace.